one of the most disruptive players in the game today, coming off a healthy offseason for the first time in a long time. He's about to get into his warm-up routine, and so gracious, JJ's going to spend a little time with us. So JJ, just wondering, being healthy, how different do you feel tonight from week one last year?
I feel a lot different. Obviously, having a full healthy offseason, having a full healthy training camp, it's been really nice. It's been really nice to be able to go through practices, to go through the workouts, and to feel like myself. So I'm really excited to get on the field.
So how do you believe then with that your game can be even better?
I mean, as an athlete, your goal is to always be better. You're always working to be better no matter where you're at in your career, no matter what you're doing. So I've worked on a few things this offseason. I'm really excited about this season ahead with these guys.
Hey, JJ, Matt Hassel back here. Listen, man, I've seen you pregame. You got that game face on. But then I see you playing catch with the fans. Like, how do you do that? You got the game face, you like loose. Talk to me. Like, when did that thing start?
You gotta, it's like a click on, click off type of thing. There's certain moments where you have to get into the right mindset and the right zone. And then if you do it too long before the game, you can wear yourself out. You can mentally get yourself too tired. So you go from angry to happy. And I always say one of the best moments that I could have ever imagined as a kid would be to go to a Green Bay Packers game growing up in Wisconsin and catch a ball from Brett Favre. So if I can put a smile on a kid's face by playing catch with them before the game, I'm going to do it.
Well, I'd like to evaluate your throwing motion here in pregame today, but I want to ask you about that Green Bay, Wisconsin training camp. We do this thing on Monday Night Countdown called Come On Man. You made Come On Man this year for breaking that kid's bike, man. What happened?
Oh, man. I mean, I don't know what I was supposed to do in that situation. I walked out, and he was the first kid in line. I wasn't going to walk past him, so I was like, all right, we're going to figure out if this is going to work. And as you all saw, I'm sure it didn't work. But we got the kid a new bike. He was great about it. And the next day, I just picked a bigger bike.
Hey, JJ, we don't want to hold you up, so if you want to throw the ball with the fans, go ahead, or stretch.
I will.
Hey,
Oh,
JJ,
you know what?
I got to warm up the arm
JJ,
first.
JJ,
Here comes Randy.
Hey man, these hands are insured. Let me see that arm, man. I'm down here. You got one for me? Huh? I'm a big fan. There it is. Here it
Now
comes.
we're talking.
Yes, sir. Hey, JJ Watt, man, big fan of yours, man, and I can honestly say that I played catch with the baddest man, defensive man, other than Aaron Donald in the National Football League. I appreciate that, though.
I appreciate playing catch with the Hall of Famer. Thank you, brother.
So, JJ, we know that you've got some history here in the Superdome. September 25th, 2011, your very first career sack. What do you remember about that?
I mean, it was, as a rookie, your first sack, you don't remember much because it's a crazy blur. But I remember I came up through the middle, and I waved my hands like a crazy man because Drew was cocking his arm back to throw. And I just didn't want to let go of that ball. So I put my hands up, he pulled it down, I got the sack, and then I just looked straight over to my sideline because all my teammates and my coaches and everybody, I was just so happy and excited and proud. So it was a special moment. So hopefully we can add a couple more to that tonight.
JJ, sounds good. We really appreciate you spending some time with us, and we'll be keeping our eye on you pregame here as you throw the ball with the kids in the stands.
Good arm, man. Good arm.
Good throw.
I
appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I used to throw it up to the third deck here, but then I got yelled at because we're not supposed to do that. So I'll keep it in the first row this time.
Good deal, JJ. Have a great game tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and we'll hear from JJ a little bit later in the show as well. Sat down with Boogerman McFarland. So in the meantime, JJ, we know, will create some of the best matchups of the night. We'll talk about that later, too. Right now, let's get into some of the big takeaways off that first full Sunday from yesterday. Randy, you go first with some of the young quarterbacks.
Well, I think for me it was just being able to look at the Cleveland Browns and the Arizona Cardinals. How are they going to protect their investments in Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray? They both gave up 5 sacks, as you can see here. They had a safety yesterday. Both quarterbacks were under duress yesterday. And I think it's definitely a must-see how this unfolds for both of these franchises to be able to keep their young quarterbacks into this game if they're taking hits like this early. So they have to do some cleaning up in the front for these guys.
Susie, my takeaway was that, not that we already didn't know it, but Dak Prescott is going to become a very rich man. Now, Jerry Jones said after the game when Dak Prescott lit up the New York Giants that a deal is imminent. I don't know that a deal is going to get done this week. I don't know that it's going to get done anytime soon. But whenever it does get done, Dak Prescott is going to make an awful lot of money. And right now, He's covered in insurance policies and endorsement deals to the tune of $50 million. He can wait.
Wow. What's this Carson Deshaun show? What's going on? Down 17-0?
Pretty good.
20-7 at halftime. I always said the first month of September is the preseason. So if you're going to have a preseason game and go into halftime down big, and you're going to be one of those better teams in the NFC, or maybe the best by the end, you got to answer back. In the second half, Carson Wentz 16-21, 201 yards and 2 TDs. And look at this new weapon. It does give you hope for the Eagles to get back on top of the NFC.
Did you say new weapon? It's an old weapon who's back.
Yeah, new old weapon.
Well, this is a new weapon. I mean, both of these guys, really. But let's talk about Lamar Jackson, the best day of any player in the NFL last week, this week, yesterday. And I don't want to hear that it was the Miami Dolphins. Five touchdown passes. He had 6 all of last year. Season opener, guys like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, that's who you expect to throw 5 touchdown passes in the season opener. Tip of the cap to Lamar Jackson. What a day that he had. They said, hey, get better as a passer. He has done that.
Jackson's 5 touchdown passes were not only a career high, but nearly as many as he threw in his entire rookie season. He was the youngest player in NFL history with a perfect passer rating and also completed a franchise record 85% of his passes. John Harbaugh promised something revolutionary back at the start of training camp. We'll see if that can continue to hold through. All right, now we want to introduce you to a big initiative by the NFL. Each Monday on Countdown, we are partnering with the NFL to bring you the Way to Play of the Week, highlighting exceptional in-game technique at the high school level. This week's play comes from just down the road at Lucer Charter School in New Orleans. Matt, take us through it.
Yeah, check out Jonathan Gillard from the Lions. Great drive. Look at them close, drive on the ball, heads up, hands up, pads down, uses his shoulder to make a clean wrap-up tackle. Heck of a play by Jonathan Gillard.
And it is great to acknowledge all the kids and the coaches that are doing things right. So here's what JJ was talking about. This is his ritual before every game, whether it's home or away. He really loves the fans no matter where he's at. Say pretty good, Art.
Oh, we got to work on the fans.
As much as he loves the fans, Susie, they love
Come on, fans.
This is great for JJ Watt and the fans, man.
All right, coming up on Countdown, Booger McFarland will be calling the game tonight, and he'll give us his take on the Patriots adding Antonio Brown. Plus, did the Cowboys make a Super Bowl statement with their opening week win?
At 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Of course, y'all all gonna hype up the Browns. It's cute. Odell's there, Jarvis.
He's gonna fire down the middle, and it is intercepted.
I'm gonna tell you again, they were who we thought they were.
Everybody's gonna throw us in the trash, and I think that's good.
Jackson wants to throw, has all day, going deep, down the middle of the field, looking for Hollywood Brown. He's got him, and he's gonna score.
Not bad for a running back.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been in the tent. It was pretty hot in that tent today. I'll tell you what, man. So I was trying to open it back up as soon as possible.
It was 3/4 of the worst offense I've ever seen in my life.
You know, unfortunately, we couldn't get the win, but tie's better than a loss, I guess.
Ultimately, it's about coming on the road, finding a way to get a win, and we did that as a team.
They snuck one away. We can't allow that to happen.
Quick throw, intercepted. Richard Sherman, touchdown!
I knew what the route was. I waited for the quarterback to break. I broke before the back, and I got a chance to get my hands on it, and the rest is history.
Hawks win. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was a tough day, but he's the one guy I'm not worried about.
Adam Vinatieri misses another field goal.
Right here, we have the greatest kicker of all time, and he didn't have a good day.
Everybody's excited to add, great players.
Do you have any comment on the reports? And
no.
Ben, your thoughts on Antonio Brown joining these guys now?
Whatever.
As we continue to count down to kickoff, Booger McFarland is going to be in the booth tonight with Joe Tessitore calling tonight's game. Great to have you down here at field level with us. On Sunday, we all hang out, we watch all the games. So I'm wondering what your biggest takeaway from Sunday was. Like maybe that Cowboys pretty impressive win over the Giants?
Well, I think the Cowboys announced themselves as an official Super Bowl contender. Dak Prescott, the way he looks, is basically saying, Jerry Jones, it's time to pay me. And I was really pleased with how they called the game. There would have been an easy way for Jason Garrett to go about just handing the football to Zeke over and over and over, but he didn't. He used a lot of play-action passes, allowed Dak Prescott to get in rhythm, and to see the maturation from Dak Prescott to where he was in the playoffs last year, where he is now, you can tell he put in the work in the offseason, and that just brings a smile to my face.
New offensive coordinator. So
You have to give offensive coordinator Kellen Moore some love, and the reason why, he was his quarterback coach last year, got a little flack, and now he's the play caller. For him to be able to get those plays in, you've seen the Dallas Cowboys offense moving like a machine. There's one thing that really stands out to me. I'm always talking about third down and scoring touchdowns. They were 60% on third down, and they were 2 for 2 in the red zone. You're talking about a Super Bowl contender. If they can keep that approach going into the end zone throughout the season, the Dallas Cowboys will be a team to be reckoned with.
Jerry's been trying to recreate the 94 Cowboys, 93 Cowboys for a long time. And he's now got an offensive line, defensive line. He's going to own the line of scrimmage. And could he get the triplets? He got Amari Cooper last year. We know he had Zeke. And Dak was a quarterback that they felt like was more of a manager. And he was not putting the ball in the end zone through the air in a pass-happy NFL. 22 touchdowns in the last couple of years. And so it was kind of like, what is Dak's ceiling? And yesterday was really about breaking the ceiling, impressions of people, the perspective. He broke what people thought about Dak, and that's what is. You thought you loved it. He actually changed people's perception.
Yes.
And that perception in the NFL, because you play only once a week, really matters. Because the other 6 days, perception gels and gets hardened, and now you think you defined a guy.
Yes.
And for a guy to break out that early in the season, it's kind of fun to see.
So in the last segment, we touched on Lamar Jackson and his performance and the Ravens. And I mentioned that John Harbaugh had said going into training camp, a revolutionary offense. It's a new era, like Bill Walsh and Joe Montana. Do you think this could really be sustainable?
Yeah, the game has come to college. The OTAs, a couple of 3 in the spring. Preseason's now just a wash. And so it's very much like college. You don't get much time with the players. And so this offensive explosion, the rules now, you can't patrol the middle of the field. You can't hit the quarterback. It is more college-like, and so I love that. It's more my game. And so guys like Lamar, like Kyler, could now be drafted high and expect to go be great performers, because the game, I think, is meant for, forevermore now for guys like those to be really successful. And, I thought some point in this year they'd score 60 somebody first game out.
Wow.
And so I think it's fun to think about Lamar and Kyler and guys like that flourishing in the NFL today because it's more college-like.
I've been one of the biggest critics of Lamar Jackson, especially last season, the way it ended, how many passes he's completed against the Chargers. But I got to give him credit. They built an offense around him. John Harbaugh said, you know what, we're going to transform this offense and make it conform to you. And he showed if you do that, you had Hollywood Brown, the way they threw the football down the field. I'm not going to overreact and say he's arrived just yet. I need to see consistency. Steve, you know this. Playing the quarterback position, you're going to have good days and bad days. But how many days can you be right there in the middle where your team know that we can count on you and you can be consistent over time? I can count on you to be consistent. I don't know when you're going to have a great day or when you're going to have a bad day. And for me, I need to see more from Lamar in his consistency department, because in the last 2 outings, we saw a terrible one against the Chargers and a great one yesterday. So who's the real Lamar Jackson?
Well, Booker, there's 1,000 hurdles to come for to greatness. We understand that for sure.
And by the way, you like the college game?
Randy.
Steve, they host the Cardinals in week 2. So they'll all be together on the field.
Louisville,
How about
Oklahoma.
tonight's
Go ahead,
game?
Randy.
How about Texans Saints? Give us a key that you'll be watching for.
Well, I think my MVP of the National Football League this year is going to be on the field, and it's Alvin Kamara. I love what he does. He is a do-it-all back. Mark Ingram is not going to be here. I am going to go with Alvin Kamara and how he can attack the Texans from the running back position. No Ingram, you're going to hand it to him on the inside zone. He has the vision, the elusiveness to go downhill and be a downhill runner. He's bigger than you think, Randy.
Yes,
He's 210 pounds. Now put him in the backfield and find me someone, a DB, a safety, anyone that can cover this young man one-on-one. LaMarcus Joyner, forget about it. Alvin Kamara one-on-one is a matchup nightmare. And you say, okay, no problem. We'll split him out wide, put a safety or corner. It doesn't matter. The Saints, in my mind, have the biggest mismatch in the National Football League in Alvin Kamara. Safeties, corners, linebackers can't cover him. Look for the Saints to use him tonight. And the key will be how the Texans match up with Alvin Kamara.
And also the key is, can he really carry the load? Because he shared it with Mark Ingram, and now he's in Baltimore. That'll be the biggest thing to watch for. Boog, thanks for coming down, and we will look forward to hearing your call tonight. And as we continue here on Monday Night Countdown from New Orleans, Drew Brees, one of the best in the game, perhaps. I don't know, you could call him, Steve, maybe the best passer in the National Football League. Can't wait to watch him operate tonight. And when we come back, Boomer digs into his vault. We'll have some of the best 50 plays of all time. Hey, Matthew, you think we've got some star power on the field tonight? Drew Brees, one-time Super Bowl MVP, 40 years old now, but man, he just continues to hold off Father Time. The fans, when you talk about a bond with the city, is just amazing. Can't wait to see him work tonight. And we hope to see you later for the Genesis halftime show. We'll get you set for the second game of tonight's doubleheader, plus a special performance by G-Eazy. And the star power continues. Cam Jordan, the signature player on a rising defense. Hey, you think you're going to let J.J. Watt even throw a ball into the stands? It's fun to see those guys together. So much to look forward to tonight, like a couple of the best receivers in football. Michael Thomas, man, he's been known to moss a defender on occasion. Later in the show, we're looking forward to You Got Mossed.